All right, let me talk about 20 years later, The Bone Temple. Very late to watching this movie, but I'm okay with that because, frankly, it allowed me to just not be involved in the conversation with this movie because I feel like there's a lot of negativity with this movie not doing well at the box office. I think people will check this out on streaming and stuff. They're just waiting because there was a lot of negativity with the first one. When the first one came out, a lot of people were excited, so there was a big rush to go out and see it. And then when the movie ended the way they did on the with the cliffhanger, there was a lot of negative word of mouth. That's why it had this second week drop off. And now you're seeing the new one come out and people just aren't going to it. But I think that's not so much that people won't see the movie, it's that when it hits Netflix or streaming, people will definitely check this out in droves. But I just feel like right now in the theater, it just is not going to matter. So, at least I'm not involved in any of that negativity, right? And then also just like, it allows me to just go into the movie and enjoy it for what it was. And here's what I will say. I actually really fucking like this movie, shockingly. And I say shockingly because I think if you saw my review for 20 years later, I don't think you could tell very much, but there is a part of me that did not care for that movie that much. Um, this movie I like a lot more. But let me start with my issues because I think they are kind of major. These movies are back to back movies, but yet they feel like totally different movies. That's a plus and a negative because I think this is a better movie than the one that came out previously. I I really didn't vibe with a lot of the things Danny Boyle was doing in that movie, just for me personally. But in this movie, the stuff that Nia DaCosta is doing is really cool. But it is really jarring when the movie literally picks up from where the other movie left off, right? They're not movies that you could watch back together, back to back, and flow together. And so I think it is smart that they didn't call this 20 years later part one and part two. They have separate names because they're two different movies that just happen to flow back to back into each other. It makes the movies very awkward, but I do vibe with what it's doing overall. So enough that I don't care. But it means like about the first half hour of this movie, it takes you a while to get into it. What is that? Ralph Fiennes in this movie, is amazing in this movie. His performance is so good. I just really liked some of the new angles we're going with the zombie, the way that they handled the cliffhanger from the last movie. I think the cinematography and direction here is a lot stronger. I also vibed with the kind of way Nia DaCosta brought the soundtrack into this movie and just did so many unique things that I thought were just really fucking cool. So at the end of the day, this is a movie that I really, really, really liked. And it made me want to see more from this franchise in the way that the last movie didn't, because of the way that movie ended on that weird cliffhanger that made me go, huh? Where this movie made me come out going, yeah, that was pretty fucking cool. And so I think if you're hesitant about this movie, totally get that feeling. But I think you should see it in the theater. If you don't end up seeing it in the theater, it's not really going to change too much. The movie's still great, but like, yeah, I really like this movie, shockingly. And I didn't really expect that at all, but I did. And I'm excited for whatever they have next. I know they greenlit another one. Some people say because this movie bombed, it's not going to get another one. I think that's a little silly. I think they'll still make another one because it didn't technically bomb. This movie just didn't do as well as projected. But if the word of mouth for these things and they change these things up and the way that they market these will be a little bit better, I think we could be in for some really cool stuff.